that running is a high impact sport. So going from tears on my couch to being able to do that, I honestly could not be more grateful. Chronic pain is one of the most debilitating feelings, both physically and mentally, that I have experienced for well over a year now. In this video, I'm going to speak about my personal battle managing chronic pain and how I have just started to tap into how I can manage this for the long haul. During my first marathon in 2021, I remember getting to mile 20, 21, 22, and I remember this sharp pain happening in my lower back. Not knowing at the time what a marathon does to your body, I knew that a marathon obviously breaks your body down, but I went ahead and figured this is probably the cost of doing a race. And so I finished the race with that pain and I rested for several weeks. And then when I was on the mend and that pain seemed to dissipate, I remember going for a run one afternoon and the sharp pain came back, but when I stopped that run, the sharp pain persisted and didn't go away. I went ahead and sought medical attention, and that's really where a lot of my frustration with managing chronic pain began. I went to several doctors, physical therapy sessions. I even had steroids prescribed to me by a physical medicine doctor. I took a MRI and everything came back negative. Everything came back that I was a healthy individual. And I remember one specific doctor mentioning to me that now that I'm getting into my 30s, there's a chance that I may need to just stop running altogether because as you're getting older, your body tends to break down, and this just might be the cost of you not being able to do this type of sport anymore. That, of course, it was extremely frustrating for me, and so I essentially took it into my own hands and did hours of just content research online, as well as putting a little bit of trust in different products to see kind of what worked and what didn't. And so in this video, I'm really hoping to showcase what those are and what worked and potentially what didn't. The outcome, I went from tears on my couch, not being able to get up in the morning, to being able to actually manage my pain by understanding and listening to specific cues and just respecting the progress that I've made managing my chronic pain. First, it's important to understand where this chronic pain is coming from. You want to consult with a doctor or a physical therapist to be able to develop a specific treatment plan for you, so don't neglect that part of the process. This may include exercises such as stretching, foam rolling, strengthening certain areas of your body, and maybe potentially taking it easy in certain other forms of exercises. Although a lot of my visits going into an MRI and speaking to several doctors was frustrating in the beginning, one thing I am grateful for, especially with the MRI, is that I was able to rule out anything that could potentially be a permanent issue going forward. And so when everything came back and it showed that I was a healthy person, I understood that whatever pain I'm feeling right now, if I could pinpoint exactly how it's occurring and what I need to do to be able to minimize that, I knew it was something I could control. Next, listen to your body and understand your specific pain levels and be mindful of them. Because honestly, when I went into my training in 2022, I ran through excruciating pain, and the outcome is I just became more frustrated and more demoralized that I potentially need to get rid of this sport and try something completely different. And so one thing that actually did help me manage my pain on my recovery days is known as a TENS unit, and specifically I purchased mine through therabody. Powered Out 2.0 is a portable, wireless muscle stimulator that uses electrical muscle stimulation known as EMS, which contracts and relaxes the muscles. The device comes with 2 wireless pods or TENS units that can be attached to different areas of the body to target specific muscle groups. The Powered Out 2.0 app, which can be downloaded onto your smartphone, allows users to customize the intensity and duration of their stimulation sessions, as well as select from pre-programmed routines. The device can be used for muscle recovery and rehabilitation, as well as performance enhancement and injury prevention. This little device honestly helped me with really challenging mornings getting out of bed, and I honestly can't recommend it enough, so definitely check it out. I'll have a link in the bottom if you want to take a look. Another important strategy is to ensure that you have proper running form. Running form is very important because the reality of it is that running is a high impact sport, and especially when you're road running, pavement doesn't give. And so if you are overstriding or if your upper torso isn't relaxed while you're running, your core isn't engaged, all these things factor, especially when you are compounding over years of doing this, similar to what I did to myself. you will result in injury at one point or another. When I first got into running, I had a coach always tell me that I need to extend my legs out more because of how tall I am. He said it would make me faster. Although part of that is true, it is more important to push off the ground in such a way that propels you forward. If you overextend your legs, you will not land under your center of gravity, which will not enable the momentum you need to carry forward. For years, I would land mostly on the top of my feet and the sides of my feet, and what that resulted in is years of callus buildup, and not good calluses that hurt while I would run, and my shoes would wear down quicker. And so one pro tip I want to call out is take care of your feet. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but how do you do that? So if you have calluses, especially calluses that hurt while you might be walking or running, consider a sports pedicure, and please embrace this. I just had one recently, and honestly, it allowed my feet to heal in such a way that I can continue to run. And because of that compounded bad interest over the years of that callus buildup, my calluses still at times do hurt, but now I'm in a point where I can manage it myself, and I'll go ahead and soak my feet probably 2 or 3 times a week and make sure that I'm shaving those calluses down and providing moisturizer. This is part of my running routine now. And so I'm on the mend there, but for a while, I'm like, why do my feet hurt so much? Sports pedicure, trust me. Okay, next up, consider an alternative form of exercise. Now, I know like what you might be thinking. I sound like that doctor that I went to almost a year ago now, telling me to stop running. That is true, and actually I did stop running for several weeks and almost I think about 2 months, and I gave my body a rest, and that really allowed me to reflect on how is that chronic pain being triggered, and what can I do in the process to both strengthen that area as well as be mindful of that activity. And so during that time, I didn't just sit on the couch. I needed to find ways to enhance my cardiovascular activity, and so I did get into cycling and a little bit of swimming as well as a lot of yoga and stretching, and what I found was that really gave me that itch that I needed to scratch, but it also gave my body time to recover and be able to be mindful of that pain level and actually be able to start tapping into, why have I been in pain? Okay, so now the number one reason for my pain and the reason why I have confidence to make this content for you is stretching. I don't stretch. I don't prioritize stretching. I don't see any reason why someone needs to stretch if they want to become stronger or more athletic. And that was me for well over a decade. There was a time in my life where I couldn't even do a full body squat without my heels coming up because my ankles were so tight and so were my hips. And honestly, it was just painful, and it took months to just being able to do a body squat with no weights. So going into a 26.2 mile race and being ill-trained and my body being so tight from the hips down, it honestly equaled a guaranteed injury. And I just cannot believe that I was that arrogant to think that I didn't have to stretch. Unfortunately, this took me well over a year to figure out, and just being in agonizing pain throughout that entire experience. And so now I'm focused mainly on my hip flexors and my hamstrings, because those are two main causes of lower back pain, especially for those who are going out for longer runs. And I have slowly but surely been able to minimize that pain to a level that I can manage and ensure that I'm taken care of and continue to push forward in my training.